The full-time scores in the Premier League. So Leicester 2-0 winners against Brighton at the Amex. All the action really in the last 30 minutes of this game. Glenn Murray missed a penalty on 77 minutes. How crucial that was. Vicente Bora scored on 83. Jamie Vardy right at the in-between times. Well, indeed, he got sent off for the Visitors. So a frantic finale there. In the lunchtime game, Liverpool 2-1 winners at Crystal Palace, courtesy of goals from Mane and Salah in the second half after Palace had taken the lead from a Milivojevic penalty. Manchester United 2-0 winners at Swansea, as we've seen. Lukaku and Sanchez on the score sheet. Newcastle 1, Huddersfield 0. Vital win that for Rafa Benitez. It's a Jose Perez who got the winner on 80 minutes. Watford 2, Bournemouth 2. Lots of goals as expected in this game. Watford twice taking the lead and twice pegged back. Kiko Femini and Pereira for the hosts, King from the penalty spot and Defoe for the visitors. West Brom make it now 9 straight defeats in all competitions. Burnley taking the lead through Ashley Barnes, 4 goals in 4 Premier League games in a row for him, first time in his career. Chris Wood with another goal for him, and then Salomon Rondon with a consolation for the Baggies. And West Ham 3-0 winners over Southampton. All the damage done in the first half, 2 from Marko Arnautovic and a first goal for the club for João Mario. That's how it stands in the Premier League this Easter Saturday. We'll be getting the thoughts on Manchester United 2, Swansea 0 with that Alan Kirbishley in just a moment. But let's head to Old Trafford and to speak to Davy Provan. Davy, 2-0 is a very Mourinho-esque scoreline, isn't it, at Manchester United? What was your assessment of their performance?
Well, it was 2-0 going on 4 or 5. You know, I think when United scored the second goal, we were all standing here thinking this could be any number at all. But to be fair to Swansea, they got on 2-0 at half-time. Carlos Carvalho was bold enough to change it at half-time. Tammy Abraham's come on. Andrew Ayew went wide. Routledge come on wide on the other flank. And Swansea played much higher. They took a big chance. They pushed their centre-backs up onto the halfway line every chance they had, and they looked much better for it. David De Gea made a game-changing save, because had Swansea scored at that time, it might have got nervy for United. But a wonderful right-handed save maintained that 2-goal lead, and United eventually saw it out. And, you know, looking at the whole 90 minutes, it's certainly no more than United deserved, because for the first half hour, this was a bit like the Manchester United of old.
And Romelu Lukaku joins the Premier League 100 club. He's brought up his century of goals in England's top division. Does he get a little bit too much stick, a bit too much flack at times, do you think, Davey? Well,
I think you only have to look at his numbers. I mean, strikers should be ultimately judged on goals, and you can't argue with his numbers. I still think there are weaknesses in his game. I don't think his first touch is perhaps what it should be, but if you look at the strengths of his game, I think they more than compensate for the weaknesses. And you know, I think slowly but surely, and it's taken time, but it's been a bit of a slow burn. I think the fans at Old Trafford now are really starting to warm to him.
And as for Swansea, well, this defeat means that they are 3 points above the relegation zone. How do you rate their chances of staying in the Premier League, Davey?
I think it depends, you know, what Swansea we see going forward. I think they were short of ambition in the first half, and you know, when he pressed the button in the second half and let them off the leash, they were a much more dangerous side in that second half. If they play the way they played in the second half here today at Old Trafford in what remains of the season, I think they'll be okay, David. I think they'll be all right.
David, good to speak to you. Enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. Thank you. Right, let's speak to Alan then, shall we, about the game at Old Trafford. Comfortable in the end for United, aside that little moment when De Gea had to make those saves. So what did you make of it overall?
Well, overall, as David said, I think Man United obviously deserved the 3 points. Could have scored a few more goals, but you know, Swansea did give it a go in the second half and changed their formation, made a couple of substitutions, and they took the game to Man United. And you know, we talk about David De Gea as world class. Well, what sums up world class keeper is when you have nothing to do for most of the game, then suddenly you're asked to produce a save like he did from Tammy Abrahams, because it could have got Swansea back in the game.
We'll get to David De Gea in a bit. Also, I suppose the context of this game coming at this time with Chelsea taking on Tottenham as well, that's why it was significant for United, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, they saw Liverpool jump above them, but they've got games in hand on them. But tomorrow, Mourinho and everybody at Old Trafford knows that out of Chelsea and Tottenham, points are going to be dropped. And if you're talking about the top 4, which is what they're fighting after now, staying in that top 4 for European football next year, then it's going to be a big result tomorrow.
I'm sure that he will have told his players how important this game was, and they responded, didn't they? Particularly Romelu Lukaku with that goal inside 5 minutes. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, because we're talking about Swansea perhaps trying to contain Man United. They got nowhere near him in his first 10, 15 minutes. Quick passing, interchange between Sanchez and Lingard. And then Lukaku, he gets a little bit of luck with the deflection, but it's a great little move. Great pass from Sanchez. Gets his shot off, just takes the deflection off of Mawson. But the front three were really sharp today. Sanchez and Lingard and Lukaku.
So as we mentioned, it means that he has brought up 100 goals in the Premier League. And this is the order of his clubs as he played for them in England's top division. So didn't exactly pull up many trees, shall we say, at Stamford
Who was the
Bridge.
manager when he was at Chelsea?
Who was it?
It's an incredible record when you consider he scored no goals for Chelsea, but he's hit the 100 mark and it's a great achievement, and he's going to go on and perhaps looking for that 150 next.
Well, yeah, West Brom, Everton, that's really where he cut his teeth at Manchester United now. 15 goals and counting. So Romelu Lukaku had chances to add to that, but nevertheless it is a big, big milestone for him. Let's hear from the Belgian speaking after the game with David Craig.
Romelu, a victory and a milestone moment for yourself. How special a day was that?
Yeah, I'm really happy. A dream come true, but there is a lot of hard work to be done. I want to win trophies, but I'm really happy to have achieved that in a league where I wanted to play since I was 6. So it's good, but there is still a lot of work to be done.
100 Premier League goals is some record so far.
Yeah.
What exactly, though, does it mean to you personally?
At the minute, yeah, it's just good on a personal level, but I want to achieve at the club level. I'm playing for Manchester United. I signed here with a dream to win trophies, so that's the main objective. You know that personally you're going to improve and you're going to score more goals, but at the end of the day, it's all about the trophies, and that's what I want to achieve.
Another victory today for Manchester United. 6 games left in the Premier League. How important is it that you finish strongly as a team, looking ahead to next season?
Of course, it's really important. The manager really told us that everybody has to fight for his place in the team, and I'm really happy that we won today. And we have a lot of fixtures coming up this month, but we're prepared and we'll be ready.
And finally, it's a formidable home record you're developing here at Old Trafford. What's been the secret behind that?
Try to start at a high tempo, try to score early, and keep the lead and try to score more goals. I think today we created a lot of chances, but we didn't score enough. But the fans were entertained today. We played at a high tempo. It was really enjoyable for us, and we kept a clean sheet. Our defense is doing the job, and David has been brilliant this season. And we have to keep going like that.
Well, congratulations to you and the team.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done.
He's obviously had his critics at times, though, hasn't he, Romelu Lukaku? But just seems to try and take it all in his stride. He doesn't outwardly react to it, does it? He's a professional.
No, and you've seen when he has scored on a couple of occasions the relief, because there is pressure at Old Trafford, especially when you bought for big money and you're the number 9. And I think David probably perhaps hit the nail on the head when he's talking about his all-round game. He does score goals, and that's what he should be judged on. But sometimes his first touch lets him down. He tries a difficult pass, or he tries something difficult, and the move breaks down. And I think if he can just sharpen up on that side of his game, bringing other people into the game and keep the ball moving, he'll be a better player for it. But scoring goals, you can't complain about his record.
Yeah, but he had a great chance to add to the tally, didn't he, after 11 minutes of this game? What did you make of this chance,
perhaps this is one of his weaknesses, this right foot, because we know he's obviously left-footed, and he can't get enough power to beat Fabianski. If he perhaps could, he'd have lifted it over him or put it in the bottom corner. Great ball from Lingard around the corner, and then you'd expect him to have scored there, but it's on his right foot, and I don't think he looks as confident, nowhere near as confident on that right foot as he is on that left foot.
Yeah, and it's obviously not the only option, even in the post-Zlatan era for Manchester United in terms of goal-scoring chances. And again, early second half, they could have really put this game out of sight, couldn't they?
Yeah, I think the start of the first and the start of the second, they really could have capitalised on perhaps Swansea feeling their way. And this is another chance that went begging.
Should he have gone for goal here? Should he have been more confident?
I thought he should have when I first saw it, but when you see the ball again, it's slightly behind him, and he can't really do much more than perhaps lay it back for Sanchez. This would have been a wonderful goal for Mata. It's a great ball from Pogba. If Mata could have just kept it down.
And then this is the final chance for Lukaku. I mean, this one maybe should have ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah, because I think he's gone for power when he could have perhaps just lifted it over Fabianski. And, you know, when you're on top of your game, I think that happens naturally. He had a little bit too long to think about it, and Fabianski makes the save.
Let's talk a little bit about David De Gea. Now, on Sky Sports News recently, we did a little poll for save of the season. 4 choices, but 2 of them were David De Gea because they were just that good. And these 2 today were right up there, weren't
they?
The
first one, I think, is exceptional. I think Abrahams does fantastically well. Look, he's under control and gets his shot off. And it almost looks as if he's clawed it from behind the line. Great little turn. And that one hand up there and to keep it out, it's a fantastic save. I think Abrahams made a big difference to Swansea when he came on, had a bit of presence. And I think perhaps he felt he'd scored there, but De Gea just gets down. And this happened within a minute. Both chances within a minute of each other. And he could have got Swansea back in the game. And that's what I'm saying about De Gea. Everyone's saying perhaps he's been Man United's player of the year. Because especially at Old Trafford, he's not had a lot to do. But he makes the saves when he's called upon.
Is he the best goalkeeper in the world?
Yeah, I think he is.
Why?
Because I think that you've seen the saves, but he's so commanding. I think when he first came into the Premier League, when Alex Ferguson bought him, he didn't have much presence. He was being bullied. Physically, he looked as if he couldn't handle it. But he's grown in stature, and now he fills the goal. But he's so agile. And I think, as I said earlier, about the fact, the concentration levels, we don't have a lot to do in a game, then suddenly you have to pull that save off. And he did that today.
Let's have a look at what Manchester United are like defensively. In fact, they are leading the table as far as clean sheets are concerned. And David De Gea himself has had 150 in his career as well. I mean, admittedly, the people in front of him are also the reasons for these clean sheets. He's been at least fortunate that he's played for these teams, both internationally and club level.
Yeah, and I think he's also got a manager in Mourinho that concentrates on that defensive work. You know, he asks a lot of his team defensively. And I think he's responded. There was talk perhaps a couple of years ago that he may have been on the move, and Man United managed to stop that. But I don't think that talk's going to go away because he is the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. And there's only a couple of clubs that can afford him, and that normally means back home.
Yes, exactly. It was that faulty fax machine, wasn't it, that stopped him going to Real Madrid and Keylor Navas going the other way to Old Trafford. OK, let's hear now from the Manchester United manager, Jose Mourinho, with David Craig.
Jose, 3 points, a clean sheet and the retaking of second place. How satisfactory an afternoon was that?
It would be perfect if we could play the second half the same way we play in the first half. Because in the first half we did everything right. We defended very well, we brought the line up, we let Swansea miles away from our goal. We scored, we had more chances, we played beautiful. So the first half was perfect. The second half, obviously they improved, but I think we let it go. Probably lots of players played midweek national team, they come, they arrive late, they arrive tired, they felt the game was in the pocket, and I think in the second half they let it go a little bit. But everything is fine. We won, and in this moment with 8-7 matches now to go, every point is fundamental for us because we want to stay in the second position, and really important, the 3 points.
A milestone moment for Romelu Lukaku, his 100th Premier League goal. Has he developed now, or developing into the type of player you saw as a youngster when you first had him at Chelsea?
No, his evolution, I think, is clear. Chelsea was obviously young, but then experiences in good clubs before he arrived in a club like Manchester United, when he's, especially by the mental point of view, is more than ready. Then details as a player, movements, feelings, knowledge of every inch where he steps in comes with the experience, and 24 years old, a lot to learn, a World Cup to play this summer too is a capital of experience that can only make him better.
Was the way that Alexis Sanchez took his goal today and the way it was served up to him from Jesse Lingard a positive point for you as well?
Everything that brings confidence to the players is positive for me. That's what I want, is players to play well, players to get confidence and try to be stable. We need stability on players, and it happens a lot in football players. The emotions, they control them, and the moments make them perform, not perform, perform better, perform not so well. So it's important, these little details that make especially attacking players happy boys.
Just very finally, Josie, you said in your programme notes today the club's still in transition in your eyes. How important is it in these remaining games you finish as strongly as possible?
You know, last season we won titles, but we are not playing Europa League this season, but we finished sixth in the table. This season we have possibilities to finish obviously better than sixth, but we don't want to finish fifth. We want to finish second. We have, I think, 10 points, something like that, more than last season. We have more goals scored. We have less goals conceded. We have a club that is making a number of points that makes practically impossible for the others to follow. But with the number of points we have today, in the majority of the Premier Leagues, we will be fighting for the title. So I think we are having a positive season, and we still have semi-final of FA Cup to play, which we know is against one of the best teams in the country, is in that stadium, but we are going to fight for our presence in the FA Cup final.
We wish you well.
Thank you.
He's talking himself up a little bit there, isn't he? More goals scored, fewer conceded, more points than last season. But if Manchester United finish in the Champions League places, let's say second, and win the FA Cup, is that enough for Mourinho at United?
Yeah, I think so. Because last year you look at won the Europa League, won the League Cup, and if they do that, what you're saying, that win the FA Cup and finish second, I think it's just been a phenomenal year for Man City. That is the big problem that Mourinho's got. The noisy neighbours, if you like, are not only winning the league, they're strolling the league, but they're playing a fantastic brand of football. And that is where the pressure's coming from. And I think he's trying to say, look, any other given season, we'd probably be top now, and we'd probably be winning the Premier League, but because of what the others have done. So I think he talks about transition. You know, it's a long time now since Alex Ferguson left. And, you know, they've obviously had different managers. But he's put his stamp on the side. And I think he's saying they've improved every year since he's been there. Give me some more money in the summer, and then perhaps we'll improve a little bit more. Because I think that, once again, to match Man City, they've got to go out and bring some players in.
He talked about trying to make the FA Cup final and trying to finish second in the Premier League. But how much motivation is there to try and beat Manchester City in the derby, which is Saturday, 7th of April, 5:30 p.m. on Sky Sports Premier League? I mean, that must be right circled in his diary.
And I'll be really interested to see how he sets out at the Etihad against Man City. You know, not just to try and stop them winning the Premier League on that day, but perhaps make a statement. Because, as we've seen so far this season, when the top teams have come up against Man City, they've tended to go out trying not to get beat, other than perhaps trying to win the game. I'd like to see Man United go there and try and win the game.
OK, well, we shall find out.